Saturday. It's been a few days. We had some 90-degree weather. Now it's a rainy 50 degrees out. So good day to work in the shop. So this is a new video. This is kind of like part 4 of the Bobcat S130. I'm doing, as I mentioned in the past, I'm doing a restoration on this, but it's not a nut and bolt, take everything apart restoration like I would do on, say, like a classic car. It's more of a freshen up, make it look presentable, something I could drive around the property and it doesn't look like it did in the original video, where a lot of the paint was just removed from all the salt this thing worked around. So what my plans are for this one are continue the paint prep and lift the cab, start working on the platform area. So stick around and maybe we'll both learn something. In the last video, I think I left off where I was messing with the damaged areas where they used to chain this machine, putting some Bondo filler, whatever you want to call it. This actually happens to be Bondo brand. In some of the really pitted areas. And what I did, and did not get it on video, is I did paint the back door. The reason I may try to roll the white is this shop, as you can see, it's a multiple use shop. I do all kind of stuff in here, woodworking. I don't want to have to put plastic down all over the place. Already I got like a orange overspray on the floor, which I don't care. This is a cracked floor, no big deal, but I have things in here I don't feel like covering up. So if I do spray, it has to be something like that project over there, the F150, that I will be painting soon. I would cover everything in the shop, use a professional spray gun and do it right. This is rattle cans. I did not order the orange Bobcat color in quart cans. I did order the white in quart cans. And for the cab, I ordered rattle cans for the dark charcoal. So if you see me painting some with spray, sometimes with a roller, I'll go over the reasons why. But anyway, today I want to pop these lights in, the rear alarm system, backup alarm system. I want to get that done. And then what I want to do is wrap this whole door in plastic just to protect it. I want to try to get some of the sanding done, move on to the arms after I lift the cab. So stay tuned. So the reason I like to put some of this stuff back together as I go, it gets overwhelming with all the parts you have laying around the shop. It can get crazy. I usually label stuff pretty well, put it in bags, things like that. But if I can put some of these parts back together, it's a huge help. So these lights, I don't believe they have a top or a bottom to them, because on the back if you put them in the correct position on the back, the clip is up top, and on the other one it's at the bottom. So I think they're reversible, whatever way you want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and remove this insulation I bought. You can still buy this stuff. It's pre-fitted for this cab, and it just seals the cage down on top of the kind of the wheel well top. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. I have a lot of surface rust sanded off of the cage. Wiped it down with a little bit of Dawn and water mixture, and then some Windex usually cleans it. I used to use the paint prep, but it's so expensive. I'd probably use that on an auto finish, but I got it pretty clean. Taped off some of the stickers I want to save because they're in good shape. I don't even know if I can get certain ones, but I can save ones that are in good shape. I do have all new decals for the outside. I did spray a little bit of the arm. I'm gonna let that dry and sand that, do some filling on the pits. What else? Covered the cylinders. They look like they've been replaced. I don't know why they look like they're in like perfect shape, the paint and everything. So I'm going to see if I can clean them up without repainting. These grills on the side, that's an aftermarket product I can get. So I think what I'm going to do, I got the inside covered. I'm going to paint the cage next, then just put plastic over that, get the arms done, drop everything, and then work on the inside of the cage. That's one rattle can, did one coat both sides. Just about empty. This stuff, let me see if you can see this stuff. Great paint. I really like it. The thing about it is, if you don't shake this for a long time when you first get it, I guess from all the settlement, the nozzle gets clogged. It's a very fine mist nozzle, so it sprays on almost like a gun. So if you're going to do rattle can, this stuff was great. I got it from allskidsteer.com, and great stuff. Not bad for first coat. Let that dry. Goes on really light. I think total I used about a can and a half for one coat. New day here. Got a second coat on the cage. I think that's all it needs, really. I put it on pretty heavy the second coat. Also, I want to show you these lines. I figured I don't want to see them white, so I painted them a steel color. I'm just going to tape them off when I paint the white. And of course, I got some on the struts. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to repaint the struts too. So what I've done and gone around earlier, said I was going to touch up some of the salt damage on this thing. I'm not too concerned about it here because I have some metal, some abrasive pads going in there, so anti-slip pads. This side was the worst. It's drying now, so you'll see some ridges. But there was a lot of salt damage on this arm all the way down. So I think this machine ran a lot of snow duties, probably loaded some trucks with some salt. And other than that, I did put some more of that citrus strip on the remaining white paint. I am going to sand this off. This is really pitted, and I want this to look nice. A lot nicer than the wheel well area, because this is going to show. So the arms need to look fairly decent. I do have the bottom painted. That was done in charcoal. This will be white. This hole right here, actually I got to tap that. I believe it's a 10 millimeter. The 3/8 bolt stripped out of there. Somebody had snapped a bolt off of there. I want to show you a couple things here. I did not have, as you can see, I got a lot. I got taps, dies. I did not have any metric. So I bought these on Amazon. They kind of drill as they thread a little differently than some of the older stylists and older craftsmen. But I'm going to give that a shot, see if it works. Little PV blaster on the thread. What's left of this can. Seems to work pretty good. Oh yeah, I think that's going to work. So I know it wasn't cutting through a lot of steel, heavy steel, but for $9, I think these were $10 for a pack of 5 different sizes. Well worth it. Well, it looks like today I have, we're going to really dive into this, get all this final sanded. But before I do that, there's a lot of time that needs to be put in, and I want to cover these lines I painted. I'll probably clean this up and cover this with plastic, make it so I can slide it back if I want to lower the boom. The idea is to get this thing ready to be painted most of the white. Not inside the cab yet. I'm going to lower the boom, lower the cage, do the inside of the cab. But what I want to do is on this, I have a little bit of overspray. I want to get it cleaned up so I don't have to mess with these anymore. As I mentioned, I think these are newer. I think since it was a city-owned machine, I think when things went bad, they didn't take the time to replace the seals. They just went out and bought a new cylinder, or new. I think these are fairly new also. These little spring assist, whatever you want to call them. Can't think of it right now. I will around midnight tonight when I'm laying in bed thinking about this video. Anyway, that's the goal for today, to really dive into this. Also, I want to do a little test. I'm always saying, you know, I may roll this with a trim roller as I did down in the wheel well. A lot of this, the finish, is just, it's going to be rough. So I think I'm going to do a little roll test here and a little spray test here. I do have Bobcat White in the spray, a few cans of it, probably not enough to do the whole thing. I have plenty of the quart. It's a Rust-Oleum product. I want to also see if the color matches. I have a few types of painter's tape here that I like to use. This yellow stuff, I think it's an off-brand. It's not 3M. This I had it taped around this a little bit. It'll grab it, where you got to take a solvent and peel it off. The blue painter's tape works great. These lines have been drying for about 24 hours. I'm not really worried about the tape sticking to it, but it's important with the different tapes. I've had some of this yellow stuff actually pull the paint off, but this is good stuff to do things like put the plastic up, things like that. So I might have some people out there asking, why didn't you just take the lines off? Why didn't you disconnect them? This total mess here, wrapping this, wrapping all that, all these lines maybe took 10 minutes of my time. I'm one of those people who believe once you start cracking open lines, pulling lines down, if something goes bad, break a line or something happens, can't get a line off and you've already started, twist it, whatever, kink it, you know, I'd rather do this. So also in the very first video, I said I wasn't taking this machine apart. I'm going to try to do it pretty much put together. And if I need to take a few things out, of course, like tail lights and lights up top, of course, I'm going to do that. But I don't want to crack open the hydraulic system when it's really not necessary. So anyway, the cab's covered. I get that covered up there. I don't know. What do you all think? I might spray it. I'm going to put 2 test spots here. I'll put a rolled on and a spray on. And I want to see how much difference there is. This is what I did down by the wheel well area. Now, I'm not a big fan of Rust-Oleum, but I got to tell you, this stuff, this farm and implement stuff, I got that in my hair just a little bit. You know how paint, doesn't matter if it's oil-based or water-based, it washes right out of your hair. That stuff stuck to my hair for like, I don't know, 4 days after every night washing my hair. I was amazed. So this stuff, it takes a long time to dry, but it's pretty tough. The spray, that's charcoal. This is the spray, Bobcat White. Once again, this stuff, especially this Van Sickle, shake it a lot. It won't even come out of the spray tip. I have to take, every time I have to take brake cleaner, clean the tip, you have to shake that stuff up for a good 5 minutes before it'll actually spray, and then it sprays really nicely. All right, so what I did, I didn't pick this side. Originally I was going to do it on this side. I have a little bit of sunlight shining through the door. I'm going to do it on this side. So there we go. I had an open can. And it has this type of nozzle. The charcoal has a different nozzle. This seems to come out a little stronger, a little thicker. This is thinned down Rust-Oleum Farm and Implement white paint. It says it's a good match for Bobcat White. This is what I got out of the spray can. I've already sprayed it. This is one coat and it's drying. I'm going to let you look at it. And just to make sure. This is a trim roller. I use them all the time with painting walls, things like that. Cabinetry, I put a lot of polyurethane on things with these things. So I'm going to do a little bit of paint here. And I'm going to roll right into that wet spray. And of course, when you paint, both of them are going to need 2 coats. I'm going to let both of these dry, and I want to see how much orange peel is on that. It's been a few days since I did my little test. I haven't had time. I had a busy week at work. It's the weekend, and I want to show you something. I did put 2 coats on. Here's the line here of this test. As you can see, the trim roller didn't do bad. There is some orange peel. The spray, a lot less. But the difference in color, you got Rust-Oleum here, and you have the what is supposedly a match for the Bobcat white. But here's what I've come up with. Even though I said I probably wouldn't spray this because I don't want to cover everything. Pretty much everything in here has a layer of dust. So with this paint, it takes a long time to dry. So it doesn't dry with the spray in the air. It lays and then it dries. So it gets on everything. But I like the brighter white. It is a gloss, a little bit more gloss than the Bobcat white in the spray can. So what have I decided? I am going to go ahead and just gun spray it, mix up the quart I have, dilute it a little bit, about 10% with some paint thinner, and go to town on this thing and see how it looks. I'll get set up for that. Lots of taping and covering things now that I decided to spray. Got everything taped off, some blankets, protection. I think I'm going to go ahead and shoot this now. And there may be some spaces that I may have to touch up with maybe a brush or something later on. Not too concerned about that. I want to get the bulk of it done. I coated primer over all the filler. I did have to sand this down a little bit here. It's pretty smooth. I'll show you what I got. I got an old Sharp. This thing takes very little air. I bought it back in, I guess, in the mid-90s. Mainly because I didn't have a huge compressor, and this sips air compared to a lot of other guns. I added about 10% reduction from this farm and implement paint. The reason I'm going to go with that is I really do like, I'm shocked at when this stuff dries. I'm talking like 3 days later. This stuff is like hard as a rock. Wasn't too impressed with the Bobcat white spray paint. It seemed more like touch-up paint than something I want to paint the whole thing with. I get started with using a filter, taking that into there. I don't need a lot of paint. This is not going to take a lot of paint. It's just not a lot of white. Well, day 2, mixing up paint. This is a little different than like car paint, where you would put a coat on maybe a half hour after it flashes, or similar to like a base coat, clear coat thing. This paint is very thick when you get it, so it's another 10% reduction with paint thinner, and it's been roughly about, I don't know, 10 hours, probably about 20 hours before the first coat was put down. So what I'm gonna do here, try and grab this with one hand, make sure this paint is filtered. Just about done with the paint, getting ready to do some decals. I have the weather stripping underneath cab, applied that. I'm going to squish that down a little bit, make sure it seals properly. I'll work on the inside of the cab next video, and probably include the Bobcat, which is still sitting outside. I did get the pin and bushing kit for it. I've been using it actually for a workbench to spray paint things, but that's going to get cleaned up and sprayed. I'll pop the lights back in. But starting to come along. I have the back, some touch-ups here, a little bit of white overspray, and then the entire back to do. I have to order some weather stripping for the glass. I want to take the glass out, clean it up really well. And then all this rust back here. A little bit of white back here remains to be done. The engine is detailed. Looks like almost like a brand new engine. So eventually a light cosmetic restoration is slowly turning into a machine that is probably just going to be used for parades. I'm just kidding. No parades. It's going to be put to work. But I guess I carry things a little too far sometimes. But I did not take this thing apart. That's the main thing. I did not want to do that. I did not want to take piece by piece, take the cylinders off, all that stuff. It gets crazy when it's going to get scratched and muddy again. So I think I'm going to end this video here. Check back later on the next episode when I'll tackle some of the things I mentioned. And hopefully I'll get this thing, start digging some dirt. Thanks for watching.